a literary princess, and today I'm doing a currently reading video. I am currently reading only 3 books, and I'm really liking all of them, and it's lovely to just be reading 3 books. I think I might have been reading 3 in the last video I did for this, but all right, let's jump right in. First up is kind of like my more fun read, although honestly, none of these books are for my dissertation, so oops. Whatever, it's fine. This is Cujo by Stephen King. So this is very good. I am a little over halfway through. Actually, probably more like 3/4 of the way through. Anyway, this follows 2 families in the town of Castle Rock. The Trentons, who are Vic and Donna, who are married, and their son Tad, who's about 4. And then the Cambers, who are Joe and Charity. Joe runs an auto shop, and their son Brett, and their dog Cujo, who becomes infected with rabies and goes on a rampage. So we are following the different members of these families, along with a few other characters, and kind of seeing the circumstances that lead up to this dog being rabid and Donna and Tad Trenton being stuck in a car, unable to escape because of this dog. It is really a character study of these different characters and their numerous issues, marital problems between both couples, infidelity on the part of Donna, abuse and alcoholism on the part of Joe, and how this is affecting the family relationships and the dynamic, and then circumstances just create this perfect storm. So at the point I'm at, Donna and Tad have been stuck in the car for about a day, maybe like less than a day, maybe like 12 hours. 2 characters have already died, and yeah, and Vic, Donna's husband, is completely unaware because he is out of state, as are Charity and Brett Camber, unaware that anything is happening because they are out of state at the moment. So this is really good. I have been enjoying being back with Stephen King. I'm not sure when the last time I read a Stephen King novel was, but it's been a while. So just being back with his narrative voice and his storytelling skills is so enjoyable. These characters are mostly really horrible people, but he does a really good job bringing them onto the page. He also gets into the head of Cujo sometimes, and poor Cujo. He just wants to be a good dog, but he got rabies. So the real villain here is not getting your dogs their rabies vaccine. Get your dogs vaccinated, folks, because Stephen King makes it very clear Cujo has not been vaccinated ever in his life. Get your dogs vaccinated, folks. I am probably going to be crying at some point. I kind of already started to tear up, like right at the beginning too, when Cujo got infected. Like right at the beginning, because he was like, he wants to be a good dog, and he's afraid that they're going to call him a bad dog. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm really enjoying this. It's going to make me cry, I can tell. The remaining books are for Jane Austen July. This first one is A Memoir of Jane Austen and Other Family Recollections by James Edward Austen Lee, and edited by Catherine Sutherland. So this is a biography about Jane Austen, along with several other biographical pieces on her from family members. So, Austen Leigh's A Memoir of Jane Austen was written in the Victorian period, published in 1870. And the other ones that are in here, which are, let me see if I can get to the table of contents. We've got Henry Austen's biographical notice of the author and his revised Memoir of Miss Austen. So Henry Austen was, I believe, one of Jane's brothers. We have Anna Lefroy's Recollections of Aunt Jane, who was one of her nieces, and then Caroline Austen's My Aunt Jane Austen, a Memoir, who was also one of Jane Austen's nieces, and James Edward Austen was her nephew. So this is very interesting because it's these family recollections. I have only read the introduction by Catherine Sutherland so far, but that in itself was super interesting because she was pointing out the differences between the recollections of, say, Austen Leigh, and then how Austen is remembered by relatives from Goodreads Park, I believe it was called, something to that effect, in Kent, and how they kind of have these two differing ideas of Jane Austen. So that is super interesting to me. And then of course there's the things that are chosen to be left out, which this particular one by Austen Leigh is largely Jane's romantic relationships. So the introduction was commenting on all of that, the different versions of Jane Austen. I found that super interesting. I'm very excited to actually get into the biography itself. And then, of course, I have to be reading a Jane Austen novel for Jane Austen July. I am reading Mansfield Park. I am almost halfway through it, and in a shocking turn of events, I'm loving this. Mansfield Park has been my least favorite Jane Austen book. I read it, I suppose, in undergrad, just for fun, and really disliked it. Still gave it 5 stars, though. I don't know why, because I remember not liking it and finding it boring, but I guess I was like, it's still Jane Austen, it still has her writing. So, honestly, in this case, I agree with younger me. Yes, this is a 5-star read. I used to not like Fanny Price. I thought she was boring and just too passive. I really like her now. I am on her side. I am finding this so interesting. So the part where they're performing lovers' vows was always a part that for me, I was like, this is so boring. And now I'm like, this is fascinating. So it's really interesting the difference in how a younger version of myself saw this and how an older version of myself, who's now studied 19th century literature at a very high level, thinks about this book now. I hate Edmund. And you know what? I think this was the big problem when I was a teenager, is that this wasn't, for me, a good romance because Edmund sucks. So yeah, if you're looking for romance, don't go here because it's not. It's still an excellent book. I love Fanny. There's characters that I love to hate in here, particularly Mrs. Norris. Oh my God, she's awful. She's so horrible. Oof. But she's fun to hate. You're like, ugh. I like can't wait to see her torn down a little bit because I know that's what happens at the end. Spoiler alert. But yeah, Edmund, I cannot get on board with this relationship between Fanny and Edmund. She is way too good for him. He is just as inconsiderate of her feelings as anyone else in this book. Like, he's not outwardly malicious to her like Aunt Norris is, but he's still just an oblivious idiot who doesn't take her needs or wants into consideration. And I don't like him. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But yeah, I'm enjoying this so much. I'm so glad I decided to reread it. I can't wait to read the second half. So that is what I am currently reading. Let me know down in the comments below. Have you read any of these? What did you think? What are you currently reading? It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.